The folks in all black, I think I can post this. I think my phone will work. I go to Australia a lot. Matter of fact, I'm on their do not on their, I won't say bad list because I go there, but I do get, I have to go through different lines. But this is a report. I watch these folks every day. I get my New Zealand reports from this company.
Attack on a former Russian spy in southern England earlier this month. British Prime Minister Theresa May has also mentioned possibly freezing Russian state assets that pose a security threat, new laws to counter hostile state activity, and a downgrade of Britain's attendance at the Soccer World Cup in Russia. Russia has described the steps as unacceptable, unjustified and short-sighted. Australia is considering ways to help white South African farmers. South Africa's ruling ANC party last month announced plans to change the constitution to enable it to seize land from white farmers without compensating them. The move has prompted Australia to explore whether the farmers can be accepted into the country through refugee, humanitarian or in-country persecution visa categories. Australia's Home Affairs Minister Peter Dutton believes the farmers deserve, quote, special attention and need help from a civilised country like Australia. US retail...
Civilized country like Australia. In other words, do I need to say more? All right, really, do I need to say more? I've been trying to tell black folk the war, this is what a collective works like. These demons, the same ones in Australia that killed off all the indigenous folks over there, they're not like these Negroes that run around talking about, well, those folks over there and them and those folks, the ones that want to separate black folk that do 8-hour YouTubes or 2-hour YouTubes and talking about, with those Africans. See, I don't think I've been trying to tell. That's why you guys get it first, okay? Because I know you guys here in the slave shacks realize it, okay? I'll try to put this in the other groups. The folks that are in the groups, no doubt about it, you get it first. I've been trying to tell you. I've been trying to tell you. See, Australia knows, these Peckerwoods are a collective. Remember, civilized country. In other words, those N-words are taking land back. They're looking into what could have happened to them. Unfortunately, the black folk in Australia are basically decimated. What they call the Aborigines are pretty much liquidated, kind of like the so-called Native Americans. So, to take the land back would be kind of, futile at that point. Take the land back away from the devils that stole it, the colonizers. This is what a consolidated, they are working as a unit across the world. Did you see the speech that the crotch grabber in chief gave in St. Louis today? Did you hear some of the code words? Remember, this is this ain't but a stone's throw from Ferguson. Where a brother's body laid out in the street for 4 hours. Again, that now you see why I talk very harshly about, especially the young lady that runs around talking about those Africans. They're taking our stuff because we were here first, because of our ancestors. See, Peckerwoods are not that dumb. And again, I question these individuals that act this way, in terms of these Negroes that act this way. I think they've got something. There's an agenda out there. I'm telling you, hardcore. Like Mr. You got to look at the data and the $1,700, and I wrote an Emmy. I'm telling y'all, there's a very insidious agenda. I don't want to go into anybody's background, but I got to put it this way, because Negroes do that all too well, and I ain't gonna do that. But there's somebody somewhere is pulling strings outside of individuals telling you that we need to separate as Africans. Ain't no different than these Idmores, MGTOWs, and anyone else. Or the Israelites talking about, well, we ain't African, we ain't this, we this and that. Here you have nation states that know how to, and these Peckerwoods that know what a collective is when the chips are down. Whether it's in Tanzania, where they've taken land from Africans, or whether it's in Chicago or even in St. Louis, where you have the Treasury Secretary, their Treasury Secretary, that prints your dollars, sitting up there with Mr. Central Park 5, going ahead and building and promoting St. Louis businesses as long as they could go ahead and continue to put your black ass in jail, for a parking ticket. That's how they got their money. I said it on the YouTube. It's not, must have been like 2-3 years ago about how they were exporting rice, or they were trying to export rice to Cuba. And this is St. Louis, or Missouri, not St. Louis, but in Missouri, they were talking about exporting these products. You know where they got that money to go ahead and put those and to box that stuff up was this exogenous type of debt or tickets or whatnot. I guess the term would be, charging black folk and overcharging them and then throwing them in jail because they couldn't pay a heating bill or a ticket. And then they go ahead and now all of a sudden they got the crotch grabber in chief. They've consolidated their assets. They've consolidated their export. They've consolidated their government. And they've consolidated their foots up black folks' asses. But I had to post this because I watch those folks every day over there in New Zealand. Every day. Not a day goes by that I don't, because they, it's kind of like, seeing exactly what the other side of the world is like and what they see. But when that report came out, that's a peek. That's a peek into the present. That's a foretelling the future. It's trying to tell you, black folk, they work as a unit. And anyone that tells you not to, like the unfortunate brother I listened to this morning out of Britain, or Miss, we got to look at the data, and those Africans and those folks, they didn't die like us because we were on the slave plantation. Or Mr., the data. Or Mr. I'm a MGTOW and those black women did this, that, and the other. Or even these clowns who dress up in cartoon uniforms saying, well, I ain't an African, I'm an Israelite. Again, it's no wonder, and it'll be justified when every one of us are in those ovens. It's no wonder, and you can't blame anyone else that we're headed in that direction. It's absolutely, you touch fire, you get burnt. It is absolutely no one else's fault but yours. Look in the mirror. If you got dark skin, wide nose, and curly hair, nappy hair, all you could do, if you want to blame somebody, you look at that mirror. You can't blame Jared Taylor. You can't blame these Australian devils. You can't blame Richard Spencer. And if you do, your genocide should be first and immediate. You can't blame them. I'm going to say it again. You can't blame them. Because if you do not proactively act competitively, militaristically, nationalistically as a unit to go ahead and make sure that you conquer these idiots, these devils, and that you make them fertilize your lawn. If you do not act in that for the immediacy of your own survival as a race, these individuals are completely off the hook.